So overall then, the Hindu approach takes basically 7 chakras. It's advised, for instance, by Paramahansa that you don't actually include the crown when you're doing the Kriya training. It's too unstable for you because it's the nirvanic, and a bit like being invited onto the marae, you have to be called. It has to be appropriate for you to be there, not just barge in because you're doing a practice. The Hindu religion doesn't do is consider the steps then, therefore from the crown up, because in some sense, well, you'll handle that when you get there. And that can bring it up to the 10. You go from the crown, the 8th chakra, love for all, to the 9th, love for God. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind and strength, which is the perfection of the 9. And love thy neighbour as thyself, which is said by Jesus to be in the second, namely loving thy neighbour as thyself, is like unto the first, because your neighbour is an expression of the creation of God. So it is your active loving God, you see. So if you perfect the love, not just the one you fall in love with and auntie and mum and your kids and your sweetheart, but if you perfect love, then you include all. And that level of perfection where it's consciously of God is the 9th. And the perfection of it, of course, takes you to the 10th, which is to be one with. So overall, we take it that the Buddhic stage is that intuitive transition, the, if you like, utterly enlightened man but that moves him into the nirvanic stage. Something close to what the Tibetan understands by the Bodhisattva vow, which was to say, I won't relinquish a better way of putting it is, I won't enter heaven until all other life is saved from suffering as well. He's committed, you see. I'm not going to take that final step until I know that all other life has taken it. This, of course, is a real non-starter, if you like, or at least an eternal starter, if life is still being formed. But the Buddhist doesn't believe that. Believes there's a certain number of souls, and when the job's done, it's going to be done. Although the number must be trillions, looking at the amount of life just on our planet at any one time, quite apart from what's on any other planet. But it's significant that the Buddhist does not recognize, Buddhist religion that is, the existence of God. I'm pretty sure myself, as I've said, that the Buddha did. It's just that he didn't like all the religious trappings, and the religion threw out God with the trappings. So from my point of view, the Buddha could have been a fully enlightened person that certainly knew God and so forth. Whereas what the Buddhist religion seems to understand by the Buddha doesn't include concept of God, and that's why it appeals to modern secular way of thinking. The theosophical 7 stages of the development of man, well, the Hindu is a bit more detailed and would want to put in more than more than the 3 stages before getting to the Buddhic state. So instead of just putting in physical, astral and mental, well, of course, even the theosophists have split mental into mental and causal, but the Hindu wants to add 2 more stages so that we move from the lower chakra to the creative chakra, to the stomach chakra, the heart, the throat, ear, and the eye. Well, I would want to say that the base chakra, which one could think of as the physical, is the cleansing, certainly area for cleansing the body. In terms of the cosmos, it's space, what we casually dismiss as empty space, order and integrity of God, you see. The next level up, the astral, would be the creative, spontaneously creative, if you like, or if you have God in the picture, of course, he's the creator at that point. The astral, the stars. Next up, the ancient wisdom, the theosophists would have the mind, the mental and the causal. And I would include in that actually the Bodhic. So then I would have included the chakras there of the stomach for feeling, panic is in the stomach and so on, fear is in the stomach. The heart, the desires of the heart. The throat speaks of the joy, doesn't it, of the heart and so on. And so the causal and the mental I see as matched by the stomach, the heart and the throat. The feeling, the desire and the joy. And the Buddhic, which I see as, if you like, the top of the 3 parts of the mind, mental, causal, Buddhic, I associate with the ear and the eye. The ear, the hearing, and the eye, the seeing. But the purpose is, of course, the intuitive, the enlightenment. You've heard the word of God, you've seen the light. You have to be Hindu, of course, on the simply ancient wisdom side to talk of it in terms of God, you see, at both the physical, the astral, and the enlightenment stage. If you're just going to be Buddhist, then you just say it's intuition or enlightenment, but you don't mention God. So in theosophical terms, the mind receives the Buddhic enlightenment, thoughts direct from God. But as I understand it, not all thoughts. We haven't really mentioned love. That doesn't mean to say, of course, the person isn't experiencing love at any stage. He has all of the, if you like, 7 bodies. It's just that some are not very developed. The upper ones, so to speak. Typically, that is. The intuition of the Buddhic level, the enlightenment, is the transition stage. From there, we pass into the nirvanic. I'm sorry, I got the numbers out of order earlier. For the Hindu, the 7th chakra would be the eye, the third eye, if you like, in the forehead. The eye of intuition, which is clearly the Buddhic scene. The crown would be the 8th chakra, one that one doesn't include in the Kriya Yoga practice on the grounds that you need God's calling, not just completeness of practice. So we then have the, well, it's hard to say, but something like the first nirvanic level above the crown is love. The second nirvanic level is the love of God. Your ego is embracing God now, and what that means. And the third nirvanic level is the merging with God. And I'm not sure as they are distinctly separate. They're all aspects of nirvana, or if you like, what the Christian has generally called heaven. So I don't mean to say there is an exact correspondence, but it's a good experience to practice seeing what the correspondence and order might be, and relation of one understanding to another. As I've said above in this run of recordings, when all said and done, really is nothing like as significant as simply choosing to love God, which any man in the street can do when his heart's ready. Isn't that lovely? Thank you, Dan. Yes, when I came to creation, second chakra up, that it's the stars. Stars form from from the thoughts of God. In Christian terms, in Judaic, in Hebrew terms, the word, he says the word. Words are the evidence of thought. And the stars are a gravitation. Thoughts or energy is generated from thought. Has a gravitation to itself, to each other. It's the same cause that is demonstrated, exampled at God needing fellowship. Fellowship is the drawing of people together. They flock together. At an animal level, it's the herd. At a man's level, it's society, civilization. Well, the tribe to begin with. Family. Because the very substance of all is the thought of God. And therefore, significance of the first commandment, the principle of life rather, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind and strength. And to recognize God as Dad is the parental magnetism to the child. You're drawn to where the safety is. The kiddie, my dad knows everything, he can do anything. And is the protector. Protects mum that loves you and you yourself, his children, directly. See, the right parental stroke paternal thought is fundamental to the entire creation, all that is, the whole universe and all universes. The astral body, so to speak, of God is the all of creating. The astral body of man is in some disarray. Of creative chaos that rains down upon the physical body. It has to cope with the variable and inconsistent goals of such. Whereas God's creativity is guided by an extraordinary marshalling and rationality of purpose, of causality, of course, and enlightenment that created enlightenment, preserving and caring for all with divine love. Which is to say, the God unmanifest becomes manifest to us. Thank you, Dad.